Hi everyone, so welcome to today's video. Thanks so much for joining me. Today we're doing a shop my stash. I wanted to pull some products from my drawers that have not been shown some love, not because they're bad products, just because we get so caught up with all the new products and every day there's something new launching in the beauty world. So we get overloaded with new products and some of our old existing products that we use and love get shoved to the back of the drawer or get forgotten about. So I tried to go through my drawers and pull out products that I have not used in a little while to feature in today's video. As you can see, we are going to be doing a full face. I do have my brows, I would say 90% of the way done. I do have one product in my Shop My Stash selection for the brows, so I will get to that here momentarily, but we're going to start with primer. I picked two primers out of my collection. The first one is the Laura Geller. I've used this a lot over the last several months, but I have not picked this up in the last 2 weeks. Everything else in my drawer primer-wise I've used consistently. I've even mixed them very recently trying to find a nice routine for dry skin. And I did share a video about that and a makeup tutorial for dry skin. So if you haven't seen it, the cards here will take you to that video. But the primer that I have not used in a long time is the Hydro Grip Primer from Milk. And I'm pretty sure this primer does break me out, so I'm a little scared and hesitant to use this because I know that in the past I've gotten some little whiteheads from it, some clogged pores, and I just don't know if I want to put this entirely over my face. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mix the two. Mostly this with a touch of this to see what happens, and let's just hope for the best. So I've done mostly the Laura Geller, which is the white one, and then the clear is, I would say, a smaller amount than a pearl size of the Hydro Grip Primer from Milk, and I'm going to mix the two in my hands. The Hydro Grip is a little sticky, and I'm going to apply this to my face, making sure that I have it nice and even. So I am avoiding the under eye area with these primers. I don't want to get this underneath my eyes or on my lids, so I'm just going to avoid that altogether. There is a little slight sticky, tacky feel, but not too much because I think that Laura Geller is kind of reducing that stickiness that the Hydro Grip is known for. So for foundation today, I'm going to use my IT Cosmetics CC Nude Glow. I wear the shade Fair in this. I'm not sure how long I've had this in my collection. I want to say it's been at least a year or so that I've had this. I'm pretty sure it's probably expired, the SPF on this, but we're going to still use it until I can figure out what is this that says. The date is kind of hard to tell when they manufacture the actual component. I can't tell if that's 2023 or if it's 2024, I have no idea. Anyways, I'm still going to use it. I wear the shade Fair in this one. I used to use the original way back in the day, and I remember liking that product a lot because I use the whole thing, but I do like the pump. The squeeze tube is really nice, so I'm just going to use probably about a pump's worth of product. It doesn't smell funny, so we're going to go for it. I'm using my Hourglass Ambient Foundation brush to blend this in, and we'll see. This is a hydrating formula. They do have several different options for oily skin, for more mature skin with anti-aging in it. And I think that was the silver gray tube. I want to say the green is the oil-free version that's designed for or geared towards more oily or acne-prone skin, or for people who don't want oil in their formulas. So they definitely expanded since IT Cosmetics came out with their CC cream, and this CC cream is actually a lot more pigmented and a lot more coverage than what you would expect for a CC cream. They're generally a little bit lighter, like sheer to light. Some do absolutely nothing on the skin, and this one gives you like a foundation type of coverage. So it's nice. So if you haven't tried these, they're actually pretty good. I have two concealers, and they're both different. One is the Drugstore Maybelline Eraser. This is the pink one for brightening. And then I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Magic Touch Concealer. This shade 3 is a little dark, so I feel like with a little bit of the brightener first, it will be a better match to go with the rest of my complexion. So I'm going to do the Maybelline first and use that right in through here where I have like some dark circles. And then I'm going to take some of the Anastasia Beverly Hills and then just do a couple little dots. This does have quite a bit of coverage and it's a nice formula, but I just feel like the shade was a little dark. I'm going to go in with my beauty sponge and blend those two together. Then to set, I'm going to use my Dermablend Banana Powder. This has been a powder that I've had for quite some time in my collection. It is huge. You get so much product. It's actually a really nice formula. That sort of brightening banana shade is pretty popular. A lot of brands have their version of this type of powder. I just don't like how messy it is. And there is a subtle, very, very subtle sheen to this. Like, you really have to be very critical and look at it in close lighting to pick up that sort of sheen that it has. It looks practically matte on the skin. So I'm going to use that to set my under eye area. And just by dipping the sponge in there, you do pick up quite a bit and it makes a mess. And I think that's the reason why I don't reach for this as much anymore, because it is so messy. But there was a time where this was like my go-to powder for setting the under eye area. And I do like the Dermablend products. This next product is a face powder, and I'm kind of debating whether or not to do this because I know my skin is quite dry, and powder is the last thing that you want to put on dry skin because sometimes powders can make it more dry, can emphasize texture and uneven areas of the face. So I was going to use this powder. This is the NARS Soft Matte Advanced Perfecting Powder in the shade Cove, and this is actually a very nice powder. So I think I may lightly go through like the cheek area, just a subtle hint to set my face and remove a little bit of that moisture and dewiness that I feel from the CC cream, and then just kind of tap it right over my forehead and focusing more on the areas that I do get oily throughout the day. So the T-zone, the nose, between the brows, and then a little bit more. And when I put my brush, I'm not pressing it down, but just enough to really pick up a little bit, just to remove a little bit of that tacky feel from the CC cream. That really just helped give me a little bit more coverage, even though I do have some texture that it's kind of enhancing right around this area. But, you know, it is what it is. You're going to see it. You're going to notice it. It's there. What can you do, right? Next up in my routine is going to be a little bit of bronzer and some blush. And I took out my One Size products. I have not used these in quite some time. And they are good formulas, great products. I like the packaging. It is a little bit bulkier, so it does take up quite a bit of space. So I have the Made for Shade Light Trio. So these are 3 shades of bronzing tones, some that are a little bit lighter, and it gradually gets a little bit darker as you get towards the bottom. And then the blush is the Cheek Clapper Very That Trio. And this has a cream, a matte blush, and a highlight that you can use as a blush topper. This cannot be a highlight for my fair skin because there is some pigment to it. So for me, that's more of a topper to the powder. But this brand is smart by adding a clear window over the cream, which is the top pan, so that the powder from here does not fly into this. And it has definitely made a huge difference in how this product performs and looks. There's no powder in that because that clear little window is just a genius thing. And Patrick Ta also does that. Just go into it and bronze up the skin and add a little bit more color. And I kind of underestimated these 2 shades, especially this one, because I went into that one with my brush. But it is showing up on my fair skin, so I feel like maybe I should make some use out of this a little bit more because it's a good formula. It also is matte. Oh, do you see what I just did? Oh my gosh. But watch. It's just too easy to blend and get this to spread across the face. It's easy to fix mistakes. I mean, I can be a little crazy. You can also kind of go in with your sponge, or even, you know what? I'll do some powder probably later on. But I do my little sponge method, and you can see I fixed that big mistake. And it's because I didn't pat off my brush onto my paper towel here. Now for a little bit of blush, I'm going to go into that trio from the One Size brand with a Sephora 93 brush. I'm going to go into the powder, and these are very pigmented, so you don't need a lot. For highlighter, I chose to revisit the Rare Beauty highlighters. This is the Exhilarate shade. This is very, very intense. So it's one of those kind of tread softly kind of moments because it is very blinding, and I have not used it that much because I've used other things in place of it. So I'm going to just lightly tap my brush into the product. I'm going to tap out the excess, and then I'm just going to lightly dust this onto the high points, to the brow bone, high points of the cheek, temples. This is very, very blinding. So if you don't like a super intense highlight, this may not be one that I would recommend, because I myself, I love a good highlight, but I do have to be really careful with this one because it is very, very strong. So off camera, I went ahead and applied my MAC Painterly Paint Pot. This is the only primer that I use and reach for consistently in my collection. I think I only have one other one, which is a drugstore one. I'm not a fan of it, so I won't be using it. And I'm going to set the primer because this palette that I'm going to use today does give me quite a bit of an issue when it comes to blending. And it is so expensive that I need to try and give it another shot. So I'm going to take that same setting powder that I use for my under eye and press that right over the MAC Painterly Paint Pot, making sure that I have every little bit of it set. So now that that's set, I'm going to go in with this next product. This is going to be a shock. If you have not seen my disappointing products of 2023 video, then you will be shocked by the fact that I'm not a big fan of the Pat McGrath palette. I have one of the Mothership palettes. This is the Divine Rose. These palettes are very, very expensive. We're talking $128. I like the range of colors, the amounts, the size, the product packaging, everything is great. However, I have a hard time with blending and getting this to give me a look that I am happy with and that I keep wanting to reach for. So I'm going to go into this first to start mapping out my crease, because those are the only two matte shades in this palette. So I feel like right then and there I should have kind of taken a little bit more time in deciding which Mothership to try first, and realizing this only had those two mattes. I don't know if her other ones have more mattes or other options that are kind of, I would say, more neutral. This is kind of like a cool tone, dusty, purpley type of shade. And this is the Divine Rose, and I don't really see anything kind of rosy in pink. That's another thing. So anyways, I'm using a BK Beauty A503 brush that is amazing for crease work, and I'm blending this back and forth. I do feel like this side is looking a little bit patchy, so we're kind of hitting a roadblock here. Again, I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up, but it's kind of patchy here. This side not so bad, but this side is, and I use the same amount of primer, same amount of powder to set the paint pot. So I just feel like this is just, honestly, I feel like it's a waste of money. I'm going to switch to a different brush. This is a Pro Crease number 27 brush from the Sephora Pro collection. And I think I want to add a little bit of that brown. I don't know if that's a good idea, but we're going to do it anyways. This dark brown right here, that's a matte. It's a warm tone brown. I have this shade in one of her smaller palettes, and I'm just taking a little bit of that, and I'm going to tap off the excess, tap it onto a paper towel, really make sure I have all the excess product taken off. And I'm going to start by placing this right on this outer part of my eye. I'm going to tap to place the product, and then I will start to slowly blend. So as I was saying, I do have this shade in the little mini bronze palette. It's like the little pocket size palette with 6 shades, and those blend so much better, and the look is just beautiful every time. So I do prefer those smaller mini palettes that are really affordable for the Pat McGrath brand. So if you are a beginner, I would say start there, get used to the formula, and then decide if you think that $128 is worth an investment, because at this point I cannot recommend that you start there, because I think that would just be not so great advice. Okay, so that's my 2 cents. Start with the minis and go from there, or just skip it all together. So I'm gonna just leave my crease alone. This eye is not wanting to blend very well. I try to add and layer some more. It's not working. I'm moving on because it's really irritating me. So I'm gonna take that dark brown and use that on a smaller brush. This is a 210 from BK Beauty, and I'm going to apply this a little bit more on the thick side towards this outer part of my lower lash line and then taper it really thin and close to the root of the lashes as I work towards the inner part of my eye. I'm going to go back into that first brush that I used, the Pro Crease 27 from Sephora. And I'm going to use that to help me blend this out a little bit more and soften and diffuse that line. And so we've got a lot of options for shimmers. You even have a duochrome here, and you have this sparkle glitter topper. And so you have some light shades, some kind of smoky shades here. You have those kind of goldeny shades there. So one is more gold, and then this one that is kind of like a, looks orange, but when you turn it, it has a little bit of like a pinky coral undertone to it. So that's what this one is here. Just in case you haven't seen it, just wanted to show you a few swatches and just some variety. And then here is that duochrome that looks white but shifts to a pretty pink color, and I can see that pinky kind of rose vibe from this. And then here is the topper. That's that kind of glitter. It's quite dry and it's very, very messy. It gets everywhere when I use it. It's everywhere around the pan here. So it's one that I don't reach for that often. So those are the other two. So you can see everything. So I think I want to start with this one that looks a little bit more orange and has a shift to it. I'm going to use my ring finger to apply this to my lid. I don't typically go for a lot of gold shades, but because it has a shift, I think it might be pretty. It might look nice on the lid. So I'm just going to press that with my finger. And I'm not sure if it's just me. It could just be me. I just don't feel like this specific color that's kind of gold, orange, and kind of pink shift to it. It doesn't really go with those muted purple shades. I just don't feel like I would put orange and purple together. I don't know. Is that me or is it, I don't get it. So I'm not really digging the way this looks. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that kind of bronzy olivey tone and then just kind of press that over the top and really kind of disguise this shade a little bit more because I don't really like the way that looks. I don't know if that helped or made things worse, but I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. And then I'm highlighting my inner corner with the light shade in the palette. This one here that is kind of like a goldeny pearl shade, and that applied nicely, and it does have some pigment. I'm going to take just a pinch of that as well through the brow bone. Then with my Sephora Pro Crease 27, with whatever was left on there from the dark brown, I want to try to blend just ever so slightly around this to soften the way that kind of olivey bronze looks. And make sure it's kind of blended around the edges because I think I'm just going to leave it as is today for the look. I'm not really liking this look. I just don't feel like I could recommend this palette. And I honestly don't feel after today that it's worth my time and using it again. So that's going to go to the bottom drawer where all of the not so great products go to live. I do need to do some liner and lashes to complete this look. And for that, I'm going to use the Sephora 12-Hour Colorful Crayon liner in the shade Tiramisu, which is a matte brown. It's number 13. These are actually really creamy and are really good for the waterline. So I'm going to tight line with this brown, and then I'm going to do a little bit around the base of my lashes as well. So today's mascara is going to be the Armani Eyes to Kill. I had gotten a sample with an order from Nordstrom when I bought Armani beauty products last summer, and I used it yesterday for the first time, and I do think that it gives nice separation and definition to the lashes. It doesn't make them really thick, and it doesn't give me that false eyelash look that I'm used to from like the L'Oreal Telescopic or the Pillow Talk from Charlotte Tilbury. The L'Oreal Lash Paradise gives me a lot thicker looking lashes. This is soft, kind of like a fluffy lash look. It's not a bad thing. It's just I'm used to, I guess, having a little bit more of a dramatic look to my lashes. So before I go into the lip combo for today, I did have this out on my desk, part of this Shop My Stash, and this is the Benefit Brow Microfilling Pen in Deep Brown. I used to use this before I discovered the NYX Lift and Snatch, which that one kind of replaced this for me. But I do want to use a little bit of this, and I do need to set my brows. So I have some brow pencil in. I don't have a brow pencil that hasn't been shown some love because I do use the same ones over and over again. So I kind of want to take a little bit of this pen. It has 3 little prongs. I don't know if the camera's going to show that. Let me see. It has like 3 little prongs there that kind of stick up that can give you more like a hair-like stroke. I don't even know if my camera was in focus when I did that, but I'm going to use a little bit of that to kind of fill in some areas, and I'm going to set my brows as well. I'm going to set my brows with the Sephora Shape and Set Brow Gel. I tried this yesterday again. I don't really care for the level of hold. I feel like this is a little lighter than what I personally prefer, but if you like a traditional brow gel, then you will like this formula. But if you like the laminated effect where they're kind of like shellacked down and they're not moving, think of like the laminating wax from Too Faced, the Fluff and Hold, which is my absolute favorite. Even the Rare Beauty one, if you like those formulas, this is not going to give you what you're looking for. I don't really care for this unless it's kind of like a, I don't know, like a shop my stash kind of moment like we're doing today, and I'm trying to use up some things that I bought myself because it's just sitting in my drawer and I'm kind of forcing myself to use it. It's just a traditional clear gel. It really doesn't have a lot of hold. So the lip products that I selected today, I want to start with a lip liner. This is the Lancome Le Lip Liner in Bronzelle. I don't know if they make these anymore. The Natural Mauve is one of my favorites and it's really pretty, but this is a little bit of a kind of, I would do a swatch for you, a little bit of a deeper nude shade. The Natural Mauve is a little bit more pink, kind of like my lips, but better. So I'm going to line with this. So I like how smooth these lip liners are, and I just wish that I would show these more love. And I also like how it comes with a brush applicator, so you can soften the line if you want. The lip products that I chose, one is the lip stain from Huda Beauty. This is the lip blush in Coral Kiss, and then my lipstick from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Dancefloor Princess, and I think this is the Hot Lips 2 formula, which is one of my favorites from the line. It's a really pretty kind of pink shade. And then the coral is a coral color, so I think I'm going to do a little bit of this ever so slightly. I do like this lip stain. I do feel like it's a little bit darker on my lower lip than my upper lip. Is that weird? Does that happen to you, or am I the only one that experiences that? So I do a very light amount, and it smells really good. It smells like cake batter. And I mix it all together. And here is the completed lip look and the full face completed. So I do like how the complexion looks, the radiant, dewy kind of look. I like it. I'm into that sort of more dewy, radiant look anyways. Because of my dry skin, I feel like that disguises the dryness and the flaky, patchy skin. I like the glow. The lip combo is actually pretty. I've never tried the lip stain mixed with the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick, so that's a nice little combo. And hopefully as this lip product wears off, I still have residual staining left as the day progresses. So we'll see. That may be my new thing, to layer a stain with a lipstick for more longevity. As far as the eyes, I think it's fine. I like the intensity of the liner with a little bit of the smokiness from the dark brown shadow. But I honestly feel like I'm just more disappointed than excited when it comes to the Pat McGrath palettes, and I just don't enjoy it. I just don't see myself reaching for it. After today, I feel like this is probably it. I don't know if you will ever see another tutorial on this channel using that. I may try it again, maybe go for something completely different, stay away from the mattes, and just maybe do a one shadow look with some of the more shimmer shades. But it just doesn't excite me, and I don't really feel like the shades kind of match as I'm mixing and blending these colors together. I just feel like the color story just doesn't go very well, in my opinion. I'm probably definitely making some people kind of not so happy right now. The Pat McGrath eyeshadow lovers out there, I am sorry, but it just isn't working for me. So anyways, that is it. I do hope you enjoyed it and had fun at least hanging out with me today. Everything is going to be listed and linked for you down below. So expand that description box so you get the list of products. You can also subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And then if you do have Instagram, so do I. We can be friends there. We can connect and chat. It's here on the screen. I hope to see you there. Take care, you guys, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.